President Peter, fellow members, special guests, today I'd like to take you on a journey through forecasts. How accurate are they? So just before we start, the goal of the Sergeant session is to raise $500, and I'm hoping with the injection of foreign cash into the club today that we'll hit that target easy. I think I can account for $25, can't I, Martin? Yeah. Right. So the intention today is to take you through some of the more cliched, ridiculous forecasts. You know them, you've heard them. We're just going to go through those quickly. Then there's a more serious part inside, and we'll finish off with a couple of cliches. The idea is, can you guess who some of these ridiculous forecasts come from? And we're going to start with this one. Who do you think said that? Muldoon? Right, it was actually Margaret Thatcher. So if you don't know, if you didn't know that, could you please make a donation to the fund? Right, for this quote, who do you think said that? I see no good reasons why the views given in this volume should shock the religious sensibilities of anyone. Probably Lord Gearin. Lord Gearin? Right. No, it was Charles Darwin after he wrote The Origin of Species. So if you got that right, fair enough. If you didn't, please make a donation. Okay, maybe they weren't as cliched or as obvious. Let's try a couple more. So who said the coming of the wireless era will make war impossible because it will make war ridiculous? Who's that? Well done, Stephen. You're exempted. The rest of you, cough up, please. Well done, well done. And the last of the cliched ones before we go a little bit more serious, and who said democracy will be dead by 1950? No, I didn't know this guy, but John Langdon Davies in a book called A Short History of the Future in 1936. So there you go. So these are some of the cliched forecasts that you've come across. And what's interesting about these cliched forecasts is that they've made us complacent. We've laughed at them and thought, well, they're some of the more high-profile, ridiculous ones. The rest must be okay. I'm here today to destroy that view that you might have. So I'd like to talk to you about a guy called, some of you may have come across him, his name's Philip Tetlock. And he did a book, he published a book in 2005 based on 82,000 predictions across a range of disciplines, and from 284 so-called experts. You'll find out why he called them so-called experts in a second. And so what do you think some of his findings may have been? Well, here's 4 interesting findings. See if you can absorb these as we go. The first one, that's him there by the way, a Canadian. And the first one is the experts did no better than a control group of non-experts. Right? So that's evidence, that's facts. That's facts-based. The second one was their predictive powers failed to do better than random chance. So he did a randomiser, and they still didn't beat a random generated machine. He also figured out, obviously the inference from that is that they were basically guessing. And this one was my favourite. My favourite of the 4 is this one. The more famous and renowned, the more wrong they were. Very sobering. So if you want to look into him a bit more, he's quite an interesting guy. He's published quite a number of books, and he now currently runs the Good Judgment Project. So it's a multi-year study on how well or how not well we do our forecasts. So I also have done a little bit of research on my own. I've gone through and listened on TV when people claim that they forecast the recession or they forecast this. I've gone in and actually tried to verify their claim. On each and every single person, I've found that their claim was possibly true, but their predicted range was so wide that they actually proved to be right. But the range was so wide. They didn't make a specific forecast, they made a very, very wide forecast. And therefore felt that they were right. I was raised by a Jehovah's Witness mother. The Jehovah's Witnesses on 3 occasions have specified the end of the world as being 1975, 1992 and 1996. Following their last failed forecast, my mum informed me very easily that they now predict it will happen sometime in the next 1,000 years. That's forecasting for you. Now, what's his name? Philip Tetlock was inspired by a Greek, what would you call him, a war poet maybe, called Archilochus, who, that's him there, who came up with a sentence in one of his writings: the fox knows many things, the hedgehog one big one. And so basically, Philip Tetlock, using that, he basically said there are two types of forecasters that you'll meet. And so you'll meet the hedgehogs. They're the guys and girls who've got that one big grand central theory and they won't be swayed from it. And they base their forecasting on their belief in that one grand theory. Whereas the fox is the person who's very sceptical about these grand theories and will go to multiple sources and look for some truth in there. And so his recommendation is that we go with the fox. The hedgehog forecaster is of no value. The hedgehog forecaster has caused a lot of issues in the past. So if you want to explore that a bit more, you know the name, Philip Tetlock, and you can have a read about that. Just to back up his views, there was some research done in 2009 based on some forecasts as to how many people would be employed in the US at the in the next year as the crash kicked in. And so what I'd like you guys to do is guess how close or how far they're away. So have a guess. So they were trying to predict a year from 2008, when the economy tanked in the US, how many people would be employed. How far do you think these professional forecasters were out by?
7 million under.
7 million under? No. They actually 7 million people over. They thought 7 million more people would be employed than they really were. So that just gives you an example. Sorry?
It's okay.
Oh, you're trying to...
I'm just saying, to me that's 7 million under.
Oh, okay, they exaggerate. Okay, fair enough. Okay, no, yeah. Well, it was about the year ahead employment figure. If you read it carefully. Out. Anyway, let's finish on a couple more cliched ones. Jeff's getting uncomfortable because of where he works, so here we go. So stock prices have reached what looks like a permanently high plateau.
1905.
Irving Fisher in October 29, 3 days before the stock market crash. Right, another one. You will be home before the leaves have fallen from the trees. Kaiser Wilhelm to the German troops in August 1914. So that was wrong. A couple more modern ones. Y2K is a crisis without precedent in human history. An idiot from the Byte magazine in 1998. And finally, there's no chance that the iPhone is going to get any significant market share. No chance. Steve Ballmer from Microsoft. Okay? But can I share with you my favourite one? Check this out. That's the worst one, I reckon. What's going on in there? Vietnam War? Newsweek. And for the tourist who really wants to get away from it all, safaris in Vietnam. A prediction for holidays in the late 60s by the Newsweek magazine. Thank you very much.
Kia ora tātou, nau mai haere mai, ko Mitchell Brown, kai whakahaere a rohi Rotary. Tēnā koe mātua Peter. Kia ora Rotary Club of Wellington. My name is Mitchell Brown and this year has been a great year. Some would say because I've been at the helm. Others tell the truth. But this year has been great for me for a number of reasons. First off, I've had a great team of people support me and be around me and encourage me to achieve things in Rotary that I didn't think we could achieve. And I guess it culminates this weekend with Rotorfest, a festival of Rotary in Palmerston North. So, you know, when I asked everyone if they wanted to come to a conference, yep, that was the response I got. So we changed it to be a festival. And that meant that you have the opportunity to hear some world-class speakers, but also see some world-class music with my cousin Roger Fox and his big band, and the legend Mark Williams from Dragon in the square on Saturday this weekend. So thank you for all those that have registered. For all of you that haven't registered, hurry up. And we look forward to seeing you there. Now, my journey to being here today started just over 3 years ago with this District Governor of the day called Anthony Scott. And I thank Anthony today because without that phone call from just around the corner from the Palmerston North Fire Station where I work, and the opportunity that he presented to me to consider, which was to be the District Governor for 2017-18, I wouldn't be standing here. And as all the past District Governors that there's a few in the room today know, it's a hell of a journey. I've had it said to me a number of times, you couldn't pay me $1 million to do it, but I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Let's do it again, not do it the first time. So the process kicks on, I guess. We've had, post my year of being the District Governor Nominee was Marion Johnston from Rotary Club of Wellington, Whanganui North. And of course, even closer to home, the next District Governor to come in after Marion is District Governor Nominee John Mohi from the Rotary Club of Wellington North. And around about 3 years ago, this time of year, I was nominated, so it seems fair that the nominating committee had got together in April of this year to actually determine the District Governor for 2020-21. And that's quite a significant year for Rotary in New Zealand, because that will complete 100 years of Rotary in New Zealand. So I thought about this, and when we got our district nominating committee together, made up of 5 past district governors, the immediate past 5. So immediate past District Governor Martin Garcia. That's the guy from Customs. Just telling the Customs lady about the customs stuff, Martin, you'll be right. This is not a test. We also had Simon Manning. And then we also had Anthony Scott. And we also had Deb Gimblett. And we also had Graham Black. And of course the 3 current District Governor trained people, myself, Marion Johnston and John Mohi, got to sit in on this deliberation. And I'm pleased to say that we got a name. Because that's the challenge, isn't it? Someone who would take on this challenge that will take effectively 3 years out of your life to learn more and more about Rotary than you ever thought you would like to know, or should know, or could know. And so I'm pleased to say that we have a District Governor nominee who will become the District Governor for 2020-21 from the Rotary Club of Wellington. So Kevin, would you join me up here for a second, please? Because behind every good District Governor nominee is a great husband. So Gillian Jones, would you like to come up and join me? Gillian, well done. Gillian has accepted the nomination as our District Governor for 2020-21, which will culminate 100 years of Rotary in New Zealand, which started, as many of you will remember, well, some of you weren't there, but at the YMCA in Willis Street here in Wellington, with the Rotary Club of Wellington being chartered way back in 1921. And so for me, this is extra special, having Gillian from the Rotary Club of Wellington round out our first 100 years of Rotary in New Zealand, from the oldest club in New Zealand, the first club in New Zealand, the Rotary Club of Wellington. I give you Gillian Jones.
Thank you, Mitch. Well, I'm totally blown away. I took the phone call from Mitchell, I think, just over 2 weeks ago, and I was stunned. I had no idea. I was Assistant Governor about, I think, in 2009, 2010, and so that's 8 years that have passed, and I really thought I had flown under the radar. And so when Mitchell asked me whether I would consider being nominated for this role, I was totally blown away. So I'm excited, I'm daunted, I'm terrified, I'm very proud, and yeah, and it is a very special year. So this club was always going to be busy that year, and I'm afraid I've made it even busier. So I hope that we can all work together to make it a very special year. And so thank you, Mitch. I want to thank all the district governors who have come today. It's really special. So yeah, it's very great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mitch.
So just before you charge off, Gillian, just there's a bit of pedigree in the room, bit of history of Rotary, so we might just grab you quickly if you want to zip up the front, all you PDGs. Come on, let's see who you are. Okay, we're going to do a break, so just pace yourselves. Might take you a while, Martin, to get up the front. So Peter's going to call it. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll do it then. So look, thanks again, Rotary Club of Wellington, for having us here today with our guests, and Gillian, and especially Kevin. Good luck on the journey over the next few years. We're all with you and behind you the whole way. Well done.